we just bought these two 930 turbos. I had the idea of basically getting all of the generations of turbos together for a photo shoot. Hey guys, David Nussbaum from WheelsBoutique here, and right behind me, I'm very humbled at the fact that we were able to get every single generation of the Porsche 911 Turbo all in one place. So first off, big thank you to everybody that was part of this to make it happen. Some of my colleagues off camera.
Recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Without you guys, we would not have been able to get this done. And short story is, we first purchased a 964 turbo, then we ended up with a 993 turbo, and then a couple of other turbos, and then I realized, hey, we have done every single generation of turbo. Why not get them all together in one place? Because I searched YouTube, there was a couple of videos here and there, but nothing that I thought was as cool as this. So right behind me, we've got every single generation of 911 turbo, as I mentioned. All of them are modified except for one. It's the 964 Turbo 3.6 in the middle, that's black, or I should say off to the right. But every other car is modified in some way, shape, or form. So I want to get a little bit closer into more detail with all the cars so you can see the sort of modifications that we've done. And I'll start off by walking this way. So I tried all morning to remember the horsepower numbers on this. Tried all night trying to study it. So if I get it wrong, I apologize, but here's my best shot at this. So we have the 1978 930 Turbo in Minerva Blue. This should have about 296 horsepower, and it has some HRE 540s on it. And to the we have the Porsche 964 3.6. Now this car is a 1994. It should have about 355 horsepower. This one is the rarest bunch. It is less than 1,500 ever built. So this is a very cool car. At this very moment, we have it listed for sale on P-Car Market. So by the time that this video airs, it'll probably be off to a new owner. So very excited about that. Then to that one, we have the 1996 Porsche 993. This one has about 402 horsepower. So we had 296, then we had 350. Now we have into the 400, so the 402 horsepower range. This has the whole slew of upgrades. This also belongs to us. You've seen this car on our channel before. HRE 305Ms, Brembo big brake upgrade kit, Tech Guard exhaust, Bilstein coilovers, everything, all the desirable modifications that you want to do on this car. Probably one of my favorite ones. Then off to the left here, we have the Porsche 996 Turbo. It's a 2004. This one should have about 415 horsepower. There was also an X50 package for this car that bumped it a little bit more than that. But on this one has about 415. It's got the gorgeous HRE 527Ss. It's got some coilovers on it. It's got an exhaust on it. This belongs to our good buddy Fish. He's on Instagram, Fish Whips. We've done a bunch of his cars. So big thank you to Fish for allowing me to drive it. This is the one I drove on the way over here. Very different from my 996 C4S, but I love it. Carbon interior, there's carbon everywhere. Looks absolutely spectacular. To the left of that, we've got the 2008 Porsche Turbo S Cabriolet. Now this one has about 472 horsepower, more or less. So we went from 415 to about 72. This one has carbon as well. This one has a full red interior, so when that top is down, it's absolutely incredible. It's got HRE P101 SCs on there, which are a very nice wheel. It's very modern, so it brings it more in line with the later generations. And speaking of later generation, we've got the 991.2 Turbo S. This one out of the whole group is the fastest one because it has a meth kit. It's got HRE R101 lightweights in satin bronze. It's got a tune. This bad boy was putting out close to maybe 900 horsepower as is. That's why it's the fastest for sure. But from factory, it had about 573. So this one had about 472 or 473. This one had about 572, 573. So a huge jump, basically 100 horsepower from the 997 generation to the 991 generation. And then to my left is my personal favorite visually. It's the new 992 Turbo S. So this has a set of HRE S101 SCs in gold, against chalk, convertible, red interior. This thing from factory is about 641 horsepower, so a lot of fun. We have this bad boy tuned with a DME tune, so it's putting around 700 horsepower. But of course, this is the newest of the new. This is the 2021 model. It's got the Porsche Sport Design package, and you can tell that because it has this little area that's a little bit different from the non-Porsche Sport Design package, and you can tell on the rear as well, and the same thing with the wings. So all of these are really, really cool. I was taking a poll with some of my colleagues. My father's here. We borrowed him as a driver as well. Some of the owners here, and we polled everybody. Said, what do you think is your favorite that you don't own? Because obviously we don't want to be cheating. And the majority of the people actually said the 930 Turbo. Now, I'm not sure if it's because of that color. That's the Minerva blue, but I've driven that car. It's not my favorite car. My favorite car out of these is probably the 993 Turbo, to be quite honest. I think it's a good bridge between some of the older school ones and some of the newer school ones. So just going back over the horsepower figures, again, if I got that wrong by a little bit, I apologize. You should have 296, you should have 350, then to 402, 415, 472, 573, and finally capped off with the 641. And then so by model years, 2021, 2018, 2008, 2004, 1996, 1994, and the old school 1978. That 1978, which is the 930 generation, that's probably the generation that Porsche had the most amount of years. Probably from the early 70s, maybe 72, 73, all the way to 1989. So that was a long, long time for that generation. Then came that 964, which is around 1990 to 1994. And then obviously the 993, which is the mid 90s, all the way to about 97, 98. Then you had this one, 98 to 2004. This one about 2005 to about the 2013 area. Then that's when the 991.1 came in. And then this is the facelifted 991.2. So this was about to, I want to say maybe 2019. And then of course, the newest of the new 2021, 2022. And then down the road, they'll also probably likely have a 992.2 facelifted version. So great opportunity to get this car out here. I'm very humbled by the experience. Working here at WheelsBoutique allows me to play with all these cars, respect all these cars, communicate with all the owners, chat with all the owners. I have been a Porsche fanatic since I was a little kid, since my dad was buying me those toy models. There's photos and family albums of my father as a kid working with my grandfather on a 911 in the front yard, one that my grandfather owned. So I've always been attached to 911s, and I'm super happy and ecstatic that we had the opportunity to do this. So I would love to know what you guys think. So we took the poll. Most of the people like the 930, but as is, if you had to pick a car as is with the current color, with the current modifications, which one would you choose? So we've got automatic, 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 and then the rest are all manual. So with that said, the color, the transmission, and the generation, which one would you guys choose and why? I would love to see some comments of like 930 and 993, but I want to see why you guys would choose the specific ones. That's really important to me. And also, you know, might as well rank them as well. These are all amazing cars. Everybody's list is going to be different, and but that doesn't mean there's any wrong answers. I just want to see what you guys think about it. So leave your comments in the section below. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe. It helps us out immensely with our channel. The more subscribers that we have, the more comments that we have, the more likes that we have, the more stuff like this that we can do. Before we go, I want to talk a little bit about the wheels as well. This is the part where I really nerd out. So all of the wheels here, or all of the cars here, I should say, have aftermarket wheels, except for the 964, which has the highly sought after speed lines. So I won't talk too much about those, but we'll start off with the ones that do have the aftermarket wheels. The 930 Turbo has 18-inch front and rear HRE 540s in a brushed clear with a polished clear lip, and that is a huge lip. As the generations go on, Porsche pushes the axles further and further out, which kind of eliminates the amount of lip that you can get. So that's why you'll progressively see on older cars to newer cars, the lip size decreases little by little. So the car's dimensions and offsets is what actually dictates the lip size that you can get on it, not the actual wheel model. So keep that in mind as we move further down. But the HRE 540, I think that is the perfect design for a 1978 car. It looks absolutely stunning on here. As I mentioned, the classic 5-spoke Speedline wheels. These are also 18s. I won't get into too much detail, but they are a multi-piece wheel, just like the HREs. Highly sought after. Everybody that calls us for this car have asked us, are those the original Speedlines or are they replicas? They are the originals, and that makes the value of the car jump up immensely. Then you have the 993 Turbo, which uses a 19-inch front and rear. This is the HRE 305M, so a monoblock. As you can see here, a huge amount of concavity to this car. The reason we chose this wheel is because, again, it wasn't gonna get enough lip like it would on the 930, so we went with a monoblock. It's a 19 by 12 in the rear here, a 315 tire. So I absolutely love that. That's a frozen polished clear finish. Then we've got the 99, there's so many nines around here, 996 Turbo with the HRE 527S. Probably my favorite wheel design out of everyone here. This also has a 19-inch front and rear. Very similar fitment to the 993 Turbo. The same 315 tire. You could almost interchange the wheel models from these two cars. They're a little bit different, but you can kind of get away with it. This has a brushed clear center, a polished clear outer. The assembly bolts are actually hidden behind this flange, so it's a multi-piece wheel, just like some of the other ones that we've seen, but it doesn't look like it. But I actually love this one the most out of all of them. Then we have the 997 Turbo. So there's gonna be a 20-inch front and a 20-inch rear, so 20/20 front and rear. P101 SC in brush clear. So a theme that I noticed is a lot of the cars are using a brush clear finish. Looks really nice on the cars. And this is a 20 by 10, excuse me, a 20 by 12 in the rear. 20 by 10, no. In the front, you have a 20 by 9, and here you have a 20 by 12, and it's gonna be a 325 Michelin tire on this. Then you have this bad boy, the HRE R101 Lightweight. This wheel actually weighs about 16.5 pounds for the front and about 20 pounds for the rear. It's a 20 by 9 and a 20 by 12. Very similar fitment to the 997, but different offsets, so not as interchangeable. And obviously this is a 5-lug, this is a center lock, so you wouldn't be able to change it anyways. Satin bronze finish, Toyo tires, R888Rs, those are 315s. You could actually get a 325 or a 335 on this car, but then Toyo is not an option. So this customer has a methanol kit, the Klein exhaust, so obviously he had to get the stickiest tires possible. Was a little dicey on the way over here when we hit a storm cloud, but I'm glad he's here safe and sound. And then, you know what, I take it back. The 527S is not my favorite wheel out of this bunch. This is my favorite wheel of this bunch. This is the HRE S101 SC. It is a 2-piece wheel. Looks like a 3-piece, but it's actually a 2-piece wheel. It's got a forged monoblock rim in a frozen polished gold finish, which is absolutely spectacular. Center lock configuration, polished barrel. I love this one a lot. And then remember what I said on the first one, as the cars got newer, you get less lip. So on this generation, what you do is a floating spoke design. So the lip is actually about 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the rear, and you have the floating spoke, which gives it an illusion of being a wider lip. This fitment is the most dramatic change out of all the rest. It's a 21 by 9.5 in the front and a 22 by 13 in the rear. So this uses a 335 tire. So you can see the 930 started off with a 285 in the rear, then it kind of stayed the same for the 964, then it went to 315s for the 993 and the 996, then you went to a 325 for the 997, then on these you can do 315, 325, 335, and then finally ends with a 335 as well. So maybe on a next generation 911, whatever they call it, maybe you could use a 355, who knows, but let us know also what wheel designs you like for these. Would like to Once again, thank everybody that was a part of this. We had to wake up 8 in the morning, some of us 7 in the morning here on a Sunday. I'm not sure if you can tell, but behind me, we've got clouds everywhere. The floor is wet, the cars are wet. We drove through a torrential downpour to make this happen. So luckily, everything kind of worked out, and I'm very happy with the outcome, and hopefully you guys get to enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time.
Live on the YouTube channel. Not live, but...
Hey, that's nice though.
Bro, come on. CCWs, that's how you do it, bro, and it's clean.
That's nice.
No canards, nothing crazy.
That's nice.
That's a nice Evo.
I hope I don't have stage fright. I've never had this many people watching me at once.
Don't mess up. Just 27,000 subscribers. Don't mess up.